defining aspect of a human civilization isn't cognition, neither is it stratification or specialization, it's language. Why language is so critical to our being humans, and even more so, why should we learn them, and how should we go about accomplishing it? During this presentation, I'm going to briefly go over the history of language, emphasize the benefits of language learning, and explain in detail different methods which everyone can use in language learning we say. Language is ancient. The existence of a unified, pronounceable, and written language spans millennia and existed as far back as during one of the first known human civilizations, ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians are still famous for their language, and ancient Egyptian restrictive form of hieroglyphics were written. According to the British Museum, the deciphering of hieroglyphics is closely linked to the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799 and its early deciphering in the 1820s. Unfortunately, the ancient Egyptian language is an extinct language and is lost to mankind forever. Nevertheless, since ancient Egypt, many other ancient civilizations like the Greeks and Chinese have developed their own forms of language, which are still used today after millennia of evolution. By the beginning of the 7th century, Germanic Old English, which was brought in by invading Anglo-Saxons, had developed fully in Britannia. This was quickly followed by the appearance of the Romance language group French in continental Europe at about the 9th century. These languages merged when the Norse variation of Old French combined with the Norse variation of Old English to form Middle English after the Norman conquest of 1066. As you can see from this brief timeline, any accomplished civilization from the Egyptians to Greeks and British had required and utilized language as a tool of communication and expression of ideas. Through this process, language eventually integrated itself into a part of each distinct culture worldwide. Adding on to it being deeply ingrained throughout the history of humanity, language learning and multilingualism can have great benefits. First, language learning can help cognitive development. This effect is most predominant in children due to the relative flexibility of their brains. Language learning and cognition can go hand in hand. Becoming fluent in a language enables a learner to become better at information processing, memory, and even have a positive effect on learning. A study named Multilingualism, Multilingual Identity, and Academic Attainment, Evidence from Secondary Schools in England, featuring over 800 pupils across England, saw students who identified themselves as multilinguals achieve higher grades on a GCSE exam. This was attributed to the facilitation of diffusion of new knowledge and was language learning. Second, language learning helps prevent the onset of Alzheimer's. A study done by the Department of Psychology at Yale University shows that the onset of dementia, as well as known as Alzheimer's, takes place 5 years later in multilinguals compared to in monolinguals. This is directly attributed to cognitive reserve, which is the process in which the brain's networks, especially in the posterior and subcortical regions, are strengthened, thereby protecting against certain cognitive-related diseases. Language learning may seem like quite a deal. On the contrary, becoming multilingual is actually quite easy in practice. Here are the steps. First, learn the basics. The best way to build a strong foundation for said language is to get your hands on a beginner language guide. It should go over most of the tenses, grammar structures, unique rules, and common phrases used in the language. This will help you tremendously as you move on. Second, expose yourself to the language. Through constant daily exposure, you'll be able to understand the context in which certain words, phrases, or structures are used, thereby improving your understanding of the language as a whole. After you feel comfortable around the language, switch to reading. The best way to build vocabulary in any language is to read. When reading, it's best to start short, with short stories and work your way up, preferably at a relaxed rate. Familiarizing yourself with a language often takes time and continuous effort. After you've read for long enough, you should have enough vocabulary to understand most phrases as to grammar or context clues. Now, the only thing left for you to do is to rinse and repeat. Keep reading and gradually switch to novels. Listen to podcasts and news reports. Through endurance and repetition, you'll eventually become proficient in your chosen language. To sum up, language learning and multilingualism isn't just a walk in the park, but a goal that requires endurance and passion to reach. However, the doors and opportunities that becoming multilingual can open are endless. So, what are you waiting for? Pick a language and start learning. Thank you for your attention.